Hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar. Firstly, thank you all for joining. I hope you're all safe and well and that you can hear me clearly. To start with, just to introduce myself, my name is James O'Grady and I work here at the University of Bath as a postgraduate student recruitment manager. So my job is really to look after Turkish students who are thinking about applying for Bath and also offering you advice throughout your application journey. So trying to give you support about which courses are best for you and offering you any help that you might have too. So I come to Turkey regularly, so if I've met you before, it's lovely to speak to you again. And if I haven't yet met you, it's lovely to speak to you today, and hopefully I'll get the chance to see you and speak to you in person, either in Bath this year or perhaps in Turkey in October time. So to introduce today's webinar, today is a webinar that's run in coordination with BEB. So BEB are one of our trusted partners in Turkey. And we really would recommend any students who want support with applications or any professional advice, we'd strongly encourage them to look for support from BEB. The webinar today is going to cover a number of factors. So I can see that there's different students who have joined us today. Some are looking ahead to 2021, while other students are thinking more about starting at Bath here in 2020. So I'm going to start in the webinar by just introducing a bit about the university and our culture as an institution. I'll touch upon our scholarships that we have available. Also, some information will be provided about COVID-19 and the university's response to COVID-19. And then we'll go into a bit more detail looking at student life and also the city of Bath itself. And if you have any questions at all, there'll be chances at the end for you to ask those. So, before we begin the webinar, I'm going to turn my webcam off and I'll try to turn this back on at the end during the Q&A. This is only just to save bandwidth so that the webinar can run smoothly and that everybody can keep up and see the slides. So I'm going to turn the webcam off now. Okay. It's just to show everybody who's joined us today how to ask questions. So to ask any questions you might have, and we'll try to answer as many as possible at the end of this webinar. So if you've joined today's webinar on a desktop computer or laptop like this, it's very easy to ask questions. All you need to do is click on the panel, which you should see on your screen now, click on the red arrow and type your question and send. So quite self-explanatory there. And as I say, you can ask these questions at any point during the webinar. If you're on a smartphone or an iPhone, like over here on the right-hand side, again, it's not so difficult. You just click on the question mark, and then as you can see at the bottom right-hand corner, you can ask your question and send. So do keep those questions coming, and as I say, we will try to answer as many as we can. At the end for that, we're off, which is just looking a bit about Bath. Some of you might have heard of Bath, many people might not have done. So just to introduce where we are in the UK. So we are in the southwest of England. As you can see on this map here, we're in the bottom left-hand corner, and a really nice location to explore this area of the UK. So from London, the capital UK, of course, is only 90 minutes. So 1 hour and 30 minutes, and you can be of the UK, and that's by train. The trains are very regular, so it's a very convenient place to live if you do want to get to London. And our students will often visit London on trips, or also visit London during weekends for weekend visits. But it's also possible to visit other places nearby too. So we have lots of areas of interest on our doorstep here at Bath. So 15 minutes from a bigger city called Bristol, which is famous for its music and its art. So that's only 15 minutes by train. We've also got other cities down on the southwest coast. So I'm sure many of you haven't thought about the UK having lovely beaches before. So you might be surprised when you reach the UK. And actually in the summertime, the beaches can be beautiful down the southwest coast, which are easily accessible from Bath. We also have landmarks like Stonehenge and the Cotswolds, an area of beauty, both within 60 minutes or less from the city of Bath. So if you haven't heard of Stonehenge or haven't heard of the Cotswolds and you're thinking of coming to Bath, I strongly recommend just doing some research beforehand, and you'll be really excited at seeing these places with your own eyes. But Bath itself has lots to offer. So I wouldn't like you to think that we're just in a good location. We also have lots that we can offer students who do come and stay with us. So we're going to talk a bit later on about our status as a UNESCO World Heritage City and all that we have to offer the city as well. Okay, so we're now going to look at the university as well. So that's a little bit about where we are and also just some of our key rankings, which I wanted to draw your attention to today. So first of all, the university has been assessed TEF Gold. So for those still making their decision about where they wish to study, TEF stands for the Teaching Excellence Framework. And what that is a UK government assessment of the teaching quality of institutions in the UK. So the UK government has independently assessed how good the teaching is for an institution, and the highest accolade is gold. So I'm really pleased to say that the University of Bath has been assessed as having the best, the highest quality teaching in the UK, which is something we're really proud of. Also, student experience. So the University of Bath and the City of Bath offer students lots in terms of great experiences. So we often find that students not only thrive academically here at Bath, but also they enjoy their time studying and living in the city. So we always or often, almost always come top 5 in terms of student experience. And we're sure that you will also enjoy your time as a student here at Bath. And of course, the overall ranking. I'm sure all of you, if not most of you, will know our rankings already, but we are a top 10 university. So in The Guardian, for example, we're 6th in the UK. In the other major ranking, the Complete University Guide, we're 8th in the UK as well. So we really are a top 10 university with excellent teaching as well. So we're really proud of those statuses. And the final accolade I want to draw your attention to is this one at the end, 5th for graduate prospects. And this is really important to the university. It's the ability for our students to secure employment after finishing their studies here at Bath. And this is something I'm going to go into more detail about in a moment. But basically, we're one of the top universities in the UK in ensuring that students not just develop their skills in the classroom, but also graduate with the know-how to thrive in the employment world as well, in the sector that they've chosen. Okay. So they're kind of the overall rankings. Also, I just wanted to highlight just some of our subject rankings as well. So before I do this, I just would like to highlight that if your subject isn't here on this page, don't be alarmed. I've only included a select number of courses just to show the range of courses we offer at Bath, but also many courses in the UK just are not still ranked. So there aren't rankings for every subject in the UK. Okay, so just on the left-hand side, you can see some of our subject rankings. So architecture, for example, we're one of the top, so we're first for architecture. For marketing as well, and sports science. And that really just shows you the broad scope of different courses we specialise in. So while the University of Bath doesn't have a medical school, doesn't have law, the courses it does offer, it does well. As you can see down here, for second, again, top university for psychology, sociology, business management, social policy. And then top 5 and top 10 for courses such as engineering, accounting, finance, Italian, computer science, economics, and so on. So it really is just to show you that we do really well, not just in one specific area, but Bath is known to have a broad range of courses that it really is famous for in the UK and has a strong reputation for. And that's something, again, that we are very proud of as an institution. And a bit more just about the university as well, so the makeup of the university. So the university has 18,000 students and growing. So it's a slightly above average university in terms of UK size. We have around 75% undergraduates and 15% postgraduate taught, so that will be master's students, with the rest being made up by PhD students. So that the reason why it's 75% for undergraduate isn't because we only offer undergraduate courses, it's merely because, of course, students who study bachelor's degrees are at the university for longer. But we offer many different courses in both master's level, undergraduate level, and we're running many different research projects for PhD level too. In terms of the makeup, the demographic of our community here at Bath, we're really proud of the fact we welcome students from around the world. So over 30% of our students are from outside of the UK, and for postgraduate level, it's probably closer to 50 to 60% international. And we have more than 130 different nationalities here at the university. And this is really important for our global outlook, which I'm going to draw upon later. We really want to welcome students from Turkey and from everywhere in the world to come together with their different insights and different outlooks to add to the community at Bath and the student community at large. And so to turn quickly to our kind of DNA as well. So in this photo you can see here, I'm pleased to say that this is an old photo and the campus has been developed a bit since then. This is the very, very first photo taken of the campus. And I just wanted to draw attention to what's in our DNA. And it's this quote, and this is from our chartership. So for the UK government to grant us university status, this is written in our contract. The objects of the university shall be to advance learning and knowledge by teaching and research in close association with industry and commerce. So from our very beginning, from our very foundation, the university's ambition has been to shrink that gap between the sector, the world of work and academia. And that's something we're really proud of and we continue today. And it ties in with that fifth for graduate prospects that I spoke about a moment ago. It's in our DNA, this connection to industry. And so that kind of draws me nicely onto our core themes. So this is the university's kind of culture as an institution. And I hope that by hearing this culture, you can see whether it's something that you can aspire to join, whether it really matches with your own ambitions. So the core themes of the university can really be simplified into 6 components. The first is research-led teaching. So I mentioned earlier that the university is assessed by the UK government as having gold standard teaching quality. Well, not only that, but actually the UK government Research Excellence Framework has also assessed the UK, Bath, beg my pardon, as having world-class and world-leading research quality as well. So 87%, that's 87% of our research output has been assessed by the UK government as being world-class or world-leading. And that means we have over 80 different research groups at the university. And why is this important to you if you're coming to study a bachelor's degree or master's degree or so on? It's important to all of our students because it means that we bring the latest research into the classroom. So we encourage innovative teaching techniques and we encourage students to learn from those leading at the very front edge of their field. So you'll be learning the freshest, the most up-to-date, most recent research from the most recent researchers too. So it really is high-level front edge research that you'll be building on. Practical business experience is the second component, which is really important for Bath. So almost every single one of our bachelor's degrees, every single bachelor course we offer here offers an option to study a placement. Nearly every single course gives you that opportunity, and that is quite exceptional in the UK. Also, a large number of our master's courses again allow for either a placement opportunity or there's practical work alternatives to a large and growing number of our master's courses too. This is again really important and it kind of ties back into our outlook of being connected to business and trying to ensure that students get that acumen to help them to thrive once they graduate as well. So that's something that's really important. And if you want to get that real world work experience, Bath might be the place for you to do that. There's also the global focus, which we mentioned earlier, and that's just about our connections to the world. So ensuring that we have international cohort, but also that our academics, our lecturers and professors are from around the world, bringing their own insights and perspective to their field of study. And professional development is key too. So many of our courses, you'll find that professional development is embedded into the program. So ensuring that students understand what they want to achieve from their course and where they want to develop their interest once they graduate, and which kind of sector or field suits them best. And this ties nicely in with the other core theme at the university, which is careers support. So the University of Bath offers lots of different opportunities for you to be supported in terms of your career progression. So each year at Bath, we run on-campus fairs. So we have large international organisations as well as smaller local organisations coming to campus to meet students like you and discuss job opportunities at the organisation. This is a great opportunity to find out what's needed to work in the UK or overseas and how you can secure that job that you really want. But also you have access to the career service. So there's different careers teams for different types of students, depending on your subject and depending on your degree. But the teams are there really to give you that support throughout your student life. So they're there to give one-to-one counselling to help identify the types of employers that suit your needs and also help prepare you for interviews and so on, as well as connecting you to our partners, our corporate partners. Career support is there for you as a student, but also something we're really happy to tell you is that also it's there throughout your career as well. So even when you graduate from Bath, you can access the career service throughout your work life. So they're there for you throughout your complete working journey. So you can continue to contact the career service even into your 30s and 40s, or whenever you are in your career, you can still call back and can contact the careers advisors to get that support. So if you're in Bath, you can visit the careers service. If you're overseas or in London or elsewhere, you can always book a one-to-one online appointment too. And that's something we're really happy to and proud to do for our students and our graduates. And that kind of brings me nicely onto our alumni engagement as well. So of course, studying at Bath is all about making connections, meeting peers and students and developing yourself while you're here as a person, but also academically. But also alumni engagement is really important for the university. So we have over 120,000 University of Bath graduates, and we try to constantly keep them engaged and contacted. So we run Bath events in 40 different locations across the world. So we'll do alumni events in all parts of the world, where we try to give alumni the chance to meet each other, to network, and perhaps even help themselves to find like-minded Bath cultured people elsewhere in the world. And all students also will have access, once they graduate, to our online platform called Bath Connection, which gives you the chance, a bit like LinkedIn or something similar. You can connect with all graduates from the University of Bath, and you can type in your interests, whether that's career interests, course studied, when studied, etc. And it gives you that chance to really connect and engage with alumni like yourselves once you've graduated from the university. So they're the 6 types of core themes at Bath. And just for this section, I thought I'd just end by highlighting again the real range of corporations that we work closely with and the different types of industry as well. So whether that's NGOs or charity organizations like the United Nations, IT organizations like Microsoft, IBM, automotive engineering firms like BMW, Rolls-Royce, to accountancy, PwC, or even banking, Zurich. University of Bath has over 3,000 connections to employers, and we really encourage students when they join us to make the most of their opportunities and connect to these companies, or make the most of their opportunities to speak with people from different large organizations that the university is connected with. And on the right-hand side, it's a really nice quote just to sum up everything I've said just now. So this is from one of the head of CRM and Insight at one of the largest pharmaceutical companies here in the UK. And it says, one of the key strengths I found for Bath students is that they're well-rounded, they're not just academic, they know the real world, which is really important. So this work-ready ethos is recognised by large employers here in the UK and worldwide too. Okay, so that's a bit about the culture. I think now is a good time also to what we're looking for from you. So we're kind of giving you a bit of information about us. So for Turkish students, what do we need from a Turkish student? So if students want to study a bachelor's degree at Bath, we do accept different qualifications. So for example, we accept the 4-year Lise Bitirme Diplomacy and the Anatolian High School Diploma for direct entry. But if you're studying other qualifications such as the Devlet Lise Diplomacy, you can't apply for direct entry, but you can apply potentially for the International Foundation year. And that's something I'll go into a bit more detail about in a moment. For students who want to study a bachelor's degree and they're currently studying the Turkish diplomacy alongside their IB, then the good news is that we actually can accept a combination of the two in your offer. So a little bit unique to Bath is that we can actually make 2 offers based on you attaining certain scores in both the IB and in your diplomacy as well. And that's really nice because it offers you that flexibility. And looking at the entry requirements then, it does really depend on the course you're choosing. But really for a bachelor's degree, so let me just get my pointer to show you. As you can see here, as a degree student, we're really looking for 75 to 85% overall GPA, including either 75 to 85% in all key subjects from the final year. So this is for the Turkish diplomacy. So yeah, I mean, you can really find out this information by clicking on the specific course page. Again, BEB are there to help you if you need this guidance. But yes, so 85% basically would be A star AA equivalent. But yeah, you can find all this information out specific to your course of interest on the course page. If you're a master's student and you want to join Bath, again, we're looking for a range in GPA from 2.8 up to 3.0 GPA overall. And this really depends on both your institution and the course you're looking to apply for. So it does depend, but that's kind of gives you a ballpark figure of the GPA we're looking for from our students. For those students who are studying, can't quite achieve that or don't have the qualifications needed for a direct entry, as you can see down here, this is for the international foundation year here in Bath. So if you're studying the Lycée Diplomacy with an average of 75% and at least 75% in relevant subjects, you might be able to apply for the foundation year, which you study before joining the full-time program afterwards. Or if you're studying the Lycée Vétérinaire Diplomacy, apologies for my pronunciation, you can think about applying if you've got that average of 60%, again with 60% in relevant subjects. Again, I would encourage you to look on the Bath College website to see the specifics about the program you're interested in, and again, reaching out to the BEB counsellors if you need that extra support. Need to go through this. This is a really good opportunity for students who've not studied in the UK before or can't get that direct entry onto their programme. It's a 1-year course in the city centre at Bath College, which we work very closely with here at the university. It's about 10 minutes by bus from the campus, and students who join the foundation year generally will live in university accommodation in the city in the first year, and then apply for campus accommodation if they wish once they join their undergraduate programme in the second year. Again, ask questions if you do have them, and also you can always email us if you have anything specific you want to find out. Of course, funding your studies is also important. So I just want quick opportunities to find funding for your course here at the university. So for undergraduate students, there are 3 different scholarships depending on your what you're studying and how you're progressing. So there's the Chancellor's Scholarship. And if you have the equivalent of A star, which I agree is very high, you can get up to £2,000 tuition fee waivers on your first year of study. If you're studying the IB, we also have the IB 50th anniversary scholarship, which is up to £8,000 discount on tuition fees, depending on your IB score. And finally, if you're joining the foundation year and you're assessed as being in the top 15 students in your cohort in your foundation year, then you will also be applicable for the £2,000 tuition fee waiver for when you start the programme. All 3 of these scholarships are automatic, so you do not need to apply. You'll be selected automatically if you meet the criteria. So don't worry about submitting any applications. These are all done automatically and assessed by the admissions team. And for those thinking about this, then we have different master's scholarships available too. So we have a total of almost £105,000 scholarships available, depending on your course. So there's the School of Management, MSc. School of Management here, doing an MSc such as MSc Management, Finance and Accounting, etc. And we also have the Dean's Award for Academic Excellence and the Global Leaders Scholarship too. And these 2 scholarships offer any students applying for a master's, not in the School of Management. So that could be science, it could be engineering, it could be a humanities and social science program. So students from these faculties can actually apply for both of these simultaneously. Each is worth £5,000. So you can be awarded, if you're lucky or you're successful, sorry, you can be awarded one or even both of these. So that could be up to £10,000 discount on your tuition fees. And for the MSc School of Management, it could be up to £5,000. If you're an offer holder who's listening today, you can apply for these scholarships still. The deadline is in July, and you apply once you've been made an offer and you've accepted your offer, you apply on the application tracker. For students thinking about MBA courses, we also have scholarships available worth between £3,000 all the way up to 30% of total tuition fees. And these are automatically assessed. You'll be automatically assessed for these if you're a self-funded student. Otherwise, you can apply yourself. So plenty of scholarships there available for students who are coming here. Apply, thinking of doing a master's, for example, do think about submitting your scholarship application when you're ready. So now I'm just going to briefly touch upon the COVID-19 and our response to COVID-19. I'm sure that the students who are thinking about 2020 or have an offer for 2020, this will be really useful to find out for you. So yeah, let's just briefly firstly talk about the university's response, just to kind of give you what's been happening at university. So here, just to give you an indication of what we've been doing as an institution, this is an online lecture. So all of our classes went online around a month ago, 5 weeks ago now. So that means that students still get the same lectures and still get the same contact time with the academics as they would have done anyway. It's just all gone online to ensure the safety of our students and staff as well. So this is just an example of that. The university has also continued to support their students. So we are offering free meditation classes, well-being classes, things that would have been on campus in our different art centres and in the gym, etc., are still continuing all online to ensure that students still have that kind of support and also something for them to engaging outside of their studies, even online. So these are online classes we're offering. But also over here, you can see these are photos from the campus taken quite recently, just to show that the campus is not closed. So we still have international students at Bath, and we have ensured that they are still safe and that they're still comfortable living on campus here at the university. We still have the security team working as always to secure them and make sure that they're safe and happy. And also the supermarket and facilities on campus which are needed are still running as usual. So the University of Bath has been very proactive in protecting its student community. We offer free breakfast, free lunch and free dinner to all students who are still at Bath and on campus. So we're offering free meals to all our students to ensure their well-being and just to make sure that everybody's safe, happy and healthy. And finally, what's the university been doing for the local community? Well, as well as doing lots of scientific research and supporting the government's efforts to find a cure for the coronavirus, the university has also been very active in creating PPE equipment, so protection equipment for the local hospitals, pharmacies and so on, as you can see here. To date, we've created more than 10,000 different visors and PPE equipment for our local hospitals and communities, and something that we're really proud of, that we've pulled together and supported. This is a little bit dense, a lot of text here, but it is important that we go through it and quite carefully to ensure that you fully understand how we've responded. So, if you have a pre-sessional course, or if you're a pre-sessional 5-week holder, should I say, all of our pre-sessional courses are now running entirely online. So all of our pre-sessional courses, whether that's 5-week, 10-week, and currently 20-week, are all online. The students receive the same academic support, the same time with their tutors and so on. It's just online in order to, again, preserve safety. Also, any students who join the pre-sessional course this year are eligible to use that next year if they so wish. So if you do decide to do the pre-sessional this year, but then for whatever reason you decide, actually, I want to start the actual master's course in 2021 or bachelor's course in 2021, that is possible. So you can actually use your past pre-sessional program credits and actually transfer them across to 2021 entry if you so wish. Although we do encourage you to strongly consider still coming to Bath in 2020. It's good to have that option there available. And in terms of meeting your conditions, so we're really understanding and we're taking a very flexible approach to students, because we do understand that this is a very difficult time for students from across the world, including in Turkey. So do let us know as soon as you can if there's any difficulties you're encountering in terms of getting official documents, getting references, or anything like that. Contact the relevant admissions team as soon as you can. So whether that's the undergraduate admissions team or postgrad admissions team too, just send them an email, and we are being as flexible and sympathetic as possible, and we'll judge each on a case-by-case basis. But get in touch as soon as you can. We are still accepting English proficiency certificates, of course, as always. So in order to meet your English requirement, depending on your program and degree level, we're looking at the IELTS, the TOEFL, IBT, the CPE and CAE, etc. But we do understand that this might not be possible where you are. So we are also now trying to be as flexible as possible, and we're offering a number of online test alternatives. So it's now possible, for example, to do an online test such as the IELTS indicator, password exam, and Duolingo. And these are all online tests that we will accept in lieu of the usual IELTS, TOEFL, IBT certificates. So do consider that if you're finding it difficult to meet that English requirement. And in terms of starting your studies at Bath, I'm really pleased to say that it's business as usual. So we're preparing for your arrival on campus as usual at the end of September. It's important to bear in mind that it is still almost 5 months till the beginning of the programme, and it's a very fast evolving situation. So don't think that the situation now necessarily means that it's going to be the same in 5 months' time. We are very hopeful and confident even that we're going to be running the courses on campus. But of course, your health and safety and well-being is paramount. Of course, any action we take will be with you as the priority. So if we decide actually for the first few weeks or units of the program, these might be online, we have a contingency plan in place. So if it's not possible to run the very beginning of the course online, we will run our contingency plan. So that means all units will be taught online until we then can switch offline and welcome you to campus. But we are confident and hopeful that you will be able to start the course on campus, but don't worry, we will have the courses ready to run if it's just not possible in October, September time. And just also, there's just to highlight as well, if students are worried about immigration, getting their visas, etc., the university and the university sector in the UK has been in constant dialogue with the government, and the UK government are still keen, of course, to welcome international students like yourselves, and there are no plans to change the immigration regulations for international students. So we don't expect any changes anymore. There should be any hurdles created because of the COVID-19 crisis in terms of your visa, the post-study work visa, etc. These are all still going ahead as far as we know. We do have different links available. So again, do contact specific questions you want answered that haven't been clarified today. We have this link here, and these slides can be shared with you at the end, but we do have a page just for our offer holders. So do look at our COVID-19 information on our page for the most up-to-date information about our approach to the coronavirus crisis. Hopefully that's answered most of your questions about this, but as I say, do let me know, either emailing me or asking questions in the panel in order for me to respond to those questions. There is that questions panel, so do just fire any questions you have in there, and I will be more than happy to answer those questions at the very end of this webinar. Okay. Students, just the brief so Here is the main part of the campus, and on the top right-hand corner over there, you can see the city centre itself. So it's not far, it's only 10 minutes by bus from the campus all the way to the city. Just to really briefly outline the campus for you, on the bottom left-hand corner here, we have some world-class sports facilities. We have an Olympic-sized swimming pool, we have the Olympic-sized running track, football pitches, rugby pitches, squash courts, tennis courts, and so on. And all students who join us at Bath have free access to all of these facilities. So you'll have a free sports pass as a student, allowing you to make the most of all these sporting facilities, either by joining a society or just participating on your own with friends. The only real fees you'd have to pay are generally for the gym and also for sports classes. Here on the bottom right-hand corner is the undergraduate or some of the undergraduate accommodation we offer at Bath. So these are some of the options you'll have if you're thinking about joining us as an undergraduate student. Here is what we call the parade, and this is really the backbone of the university. So this is where probably most of your courses will take place, your lessons will take place. And over here on the left-hand side, we have the lake as well. So if you're familiar with our website or any of our brochures, you might have seen this in a photograph or two. And this is a lovely spot where students will sit around in the summertime, having some downtime after lectures or studying with their friends for upcoming exams. And it's a really nice environment with barbecues and a real social atmosphere during the spring and the summer months when it's warm like it is here today. And across from the lake, we have the 24-hour library, and the library is open every day of the year. So that gives you that real flexibility to study at a time that really suits you best. So it's a 24-hour library. And just up from that, we have 2 banks on campus, and we have a supermarket, which is fairly big, with lots of imports as well. So you can try some home comforts if you wish. And also a bit further up here, we have postgraduate accommodation, which is so new, you can't actually see it because it hasn't been built when this photo was taken. So the postgraduate campus accommodation only opened last year, or no, 2018, beg my pardon. And here on the right, some more undergrad accommodation. And over on the left-hand side here, we have the doctors and dentists. So at Bath, we have our own doctors and dentists. So if you're joining the university, I do encourage you to register as soon as you arrive, just to be on the safe side. And over here, we have the psychology building and the School of Management too. So there's lots of different buildings across the campus, science over here as well. And as I said, just 10-minute bus, you get a bus up here, past the tennis courts and down to town. And in the town centre as well, here you'll find the careers service, which I encourage you to use. There'll be lots of different accommodation run by the university. We also have in the city centre, we have the innovation centre where you can start your own business if you wish with the support of the university. And also for those students doing the international foundation year, you'll find Bath College as well. As I said, just 10 minutes from the city centre. So yeah, it's quite a manageable city. It's very easy to get to and from the campus. It is possible to walk from the campus to the city, but we are on a hill. So it takes around 15 or probably 20 to 25 minutes on foot. And it's probably much easier to walk back than, of course, it is to walk to campus. So that kind of gives you a nice overview, really, of what we look like. And what's quite it looks like with your own eyes. So there's the Olympic-sized swimming pool. So we have lots of teams actually training for the Olympics, practicing here at our pool in Bath. We also have the courts, the rugby pitches, etc. And as I mentioned, really good sports facilities, and they're absolutely free for you to use. So do make the most of that when you do join, if you so wish. So moving on now from facilities to services and support, I also want to draw your attention to different support available here at Bath as an institution. And again, we're really good for student experience. We fare very well in these rankings because our students enjoy their time, and we have the support there for you to ensure that you are thriving as a student. So whether that's the medical and dental centre, which I just mentioned, so that's the doctors and dentists on campus. We have the money service. I'm sorry to disappoint, that's not to give you money, but to support you with advice about how to budget and so on, if you need it. If anyone has a disability, we have the disability service. They're there to make sure that you're as comfortable as possible as a student at Bath. And I would encourage you again to either contact them before arriving, so once you've been made an offer, or as soon as you join us on campus here at the university. We also have teams like the immigration and legal advice teams who are there to help you perhaps now with your Tier 4 visa application, but also when you're in Bath. So you might want to stay in the UK, they can give you support about the post-study work visa or other visas available to you to stay and work in the UK. But yeah, there's the Faith Support Centre, the Student Service Centre and so on. But really, I really want to highlight the academic support that's also available here. So I'm sure that all of you, or most of you, if not all the students here today listening, you probably haven't studied in an English-speaking environment before. And you certainly haven't probably studied in an English university before. So do make the most of the Academic Skills Centre. So they're there free of charge to support students like you to adopt and adapt to the new style of teaching and learning here at Bath. So they can give you, you can join programs throughout your studies to study alongside your main course. You can book one-to-one appointments, get advice on how to write essays, how to present in English, how to reference in English, and so on. It's all there to support students like you and ensure that you are more than capable of completing your program. And actually, you can really gain that support from the personal tutors throughout your studies. And of course, we've also got the graduate support as well, which we've kind of mentioned already. There's the careers service, there's the alumni network, all there to help you. Briefly, just wanted to highlight, so at the university, there's lots of support there for you. So we have the job link. If you want part-time work, we have teams there to help you to look for part-time work that you can take alongside your study. And we have over 140 different union clubs, including different sports societies. There's a real range there for all tastes. So we have the Turkish Society, if you're missing home or you want to meet other like-minded people, or if you want to promote Turkey to other students, we'd really encourage you to do so. We also have the Film Society, Basketball Society, and so on. So I would encourage everybody to get involved, make the most of the fact that there's so much for you to do here at the university, and just join societies, meet people from outside of your usual circles. Of course, also I've mentioned sports, but many students come with an interest in art or want to develop an interest in arts. Well, the university is quite uniquely placed for a STEM university. We have a relatively new art centre, which just opened 5 years ago. And at this art centre, it's really our creative hub. So you can learn a new art school, you can learn to dance, you can join the theatre society, you can volunteer, and it's open to students and the public alike. So there's practice rooms, dance studios, art galleries throughout the year. And that's there really, again, for students who have already very skilled in their arts, their art form, or who want to develop a new skill set. That everyone is welcome of all abilities. So again, grab the ball by both horns and make the most of the opportunity. Lovely. Just before I open the floor to questions, is just a little bit about our city as well. So just to let you know a bit more about what we're like as a university and as a city of Bath. Again, just keep those questions coming, and after this section, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you've sent. So it's about the Bath itself. I'll start with, we're two UNESCO World Heritage Cities. That's my fun fact about Bath as a city. There are only 2 UNESCO World Heritage Cities in the whole of Europe. So that means that the whole of Bath is a UNESCO World Heritage City, the other being Venice. So that means that Bath is a very beautiful city and a very unique place to live as well. So there's a real unique opportunity there to live in a city which is renowned for its architecture and its atmosphere. So as you can see in the background here, this is the Roman baths. So we get our name Bath from the fact that we have natural hot springs here in Bath, in the city of Bath. It's quite unusual in the UK to have hot springs. But yeah, the city's famed and is named Bath because of these hot springs. And as a student at Bath, you will get a locals pass. So using your student pass, you get free access to these kind of attractions. So you can actually visit the Roman baths for absolutely free. whereas the general public would need to pay up to £20 to visit. So that's something that, again, you can make sure you use and make the most of if you are coming here. Use your student pass and visit these local attractions for free or for some other attractions for a reduced price. A bit more about, we have UK's favourite Christmas market. So in November, December time each year, we have one of the biggest Christmas markets in the UK, and it's really quite a beautiful experience to try. We have different stalls open with different local craftsmen, where you can buy gifts for your family and friends, either back home or here in the UK that you've made during your studies. And it's a really good chance to really experience that side of British culture of a Christmas market in one of the most traditional British cities here in the UK. What's really quite special about Bath is that you're in a city that's quite famous. It's got lots to do, one of the most visited cities in the UK, many shops, etc. But you have beautiful countryside on your doorstep. So if you walk from the city centre in 20 minutes, you can be in the Cotswolds, which is one of the most beautiful areas of natural beauty here in the UK. So you can walk down to the country pub or walk down the canal in the summertime and really enjoy the lovely green surroundings and fresh air, as well as having the option to go to the city, go to the cinema, go to the other options that are available in most cities here in the UK. It really is best of both worlds. So it's one of the safest cities both in the UK, but also the campus is one of the safest university campuses in the UK too. So you'll be coming to a really safe, lovely place environment to study in. You won't have any distractions or worries at all, we hope. So to finish, kind of like a summary of what we look like as a city. So as you can see there, the top left-hand side, there we have the Roman baths that we're famous for. And we have that beautiful scenery here on the right-hand corner of the weir and the lake. And again, in the parks in the summertime, it can be a lovely atmosphere to go with your friends, have barbecues, watch live music, and so on. And on the bottom right-hand corner, that's the natural thermal spa. You can still go inside. So there's a hot spring, rooftop hot spring, which is a very unique experience. Beautiful view of UNESCO World Heritage City of Bath, whilst enjoying a hot spring. You probably wouldn't have expected that in the UK. And so that's kind of the summary of the city. Of course, it's only light touch and the city has lots more to offer. But yeah, just wanted to really give you a brief overview of what we're like here at Bath. Lovely. So now your question. So we have some questions come in. One is about tuition fees. So what is the tuition fee per year for a Bachelor of Science student? Now, this is a really good question. It does depend on the course you choose. So they can differ from £16,000 up to around £23,000 per year. But as I say, it does depend on the course you choose and whether you choose full-time, part-time study, etc. So I'd really recommend you researching that yourself, or of course, messaging me if you want to find out specifics about your course that you're interested in. Thank you, Melissa. Ailun, apologies if my pronunciation is awful. I do try my best. And let me just turn my well for this section. So yeah, Ailun, so do you accept the Turkish diploma as equivalent to A-levels? That would depend on which diploma you're studying, but it is possible as equivalent to A-levels. I would recommend if you send me that document or you send it into the admissions team, they will be able to let you know if your Turkish diploma does equate. But it is possible for you to get a direct entry depending on which diploma you're studying. Thank you. Sinan has also sent in a question. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for the question. What are the price ranges for the accommodation options? So from that, I assume you mean the cost of accommodation. So the price ranges it really does depend on what you choose. So that's a really good question. For accommodation, a University of Bath accommodation, we have price ranging from as low as about £115 a week, all the way up to around £215 a week. So there's quite a large range of different prices actually for our accommodation, but you can choose. So as an international fee payer, you get guaranteed accommodation. If you're undergraduate, you must apply by July the 1st. And if you're a postgraduate applicant for a master's degree, we guarantee you accommodation. Just make sure you apply by the 17th of June. And when you apply, you can see the different price ranges. So you can kind of select your 3 preferences. And that goes into an automatically generated software, which then selects which accommodation you're allocated. But these are not compulsory. You have a right to, of course, decline that offer of accommodation. But you can really choose then what your accommodation prices will be. Another point on accommodation is there's also private accommodation, of course, available, and our accommodation team is there to support you if you wish to look for that as well. So if budget's your main concern, of course, look at our cheapest options, accommodation, but also have a look around and see what private accommodation is there for you too before making your decision. And if you look on our website, we have different platforms we'd recommend you use in order to find suitable student accommodation, which can range from £350 all the way up to around £500 per month, depending on where you live and what kind of accommodation you choose. That's a long answer, but hopefully that's useful. Thank you for your question. Lots of questions coming in now. Thank you, everybody, for sending them in. Okay, Ahmed, thank you for your question as well, which is about the doctors and dentists. So how do you register and what are the fees for the NHS, etc.? That's a really good question. So I assume that you're thinking of coming soon. You're thinking that far ahead, which is really good. I'm glad to hear that. So for the doctors on campus, you can register as soon as you arrive. And for the dentist, I think there's a waiting list for the campus dentist at the moment, but we do have dentists in the city as well, which do have spaces available. So as a student, international student coming to the UK, you apply for the Tier 4 visa. And as part of the Tier 4 visa application process, you pay an NHS surcharge, and that covers your healthcare, most of your healthcare charges whilst you're in the UK. So that cost that you'll see attached to your Tier 4 visa application is for your healthcare coverage. So that's kind of like your health insurance almost. So that means that you can visit the doctors, go to hospital, etc., free of charge. It's included in that NHS surcharge, which forms part of your Tier 4 visa application. In the UK, for dentists, you do usually have to pay, but it's subsidised, but you will need to pay some fees. So generally, it costs around £20 to £30 for a checkup, and then it really ranges depending on the dentist in terms of what the cost of the actual operation, etc., will be. But yeah, so for the dentist, there is a charge. So there's a checkup charge, etc., but it is subsidised by the NHS. And for the doctors, etc., that cost is included in your visa application. Hopefully that answers your question. That is a good question. Okay, so another good question's come through from, I think it's pronounced Piril. Apologies if that is pronounced wrong. What is the IELTS score requirement for an undergraduate degree? That's a really good question, and it really does depend on the course you've chosen. Generally, we're looking for 6.5, 6.0, but it does depend on the course that you've chosen. So it's hard for me to say unless I know which program you're interested in. And we also accept other qualifications for undergraduate, not just, for example, the IELTS. We might also look at if you've studied English at IB level, for example, etc. So it's a good question, and I would definitely consult the website, or again, if you're using BEB services, which I strongly recommend, ask your counsellor and they'll be able to give you that support too, or email me as well, and I can help you. Just let me know which course it is that you're interested in, and we can do the rest. Lovely. And we've got a question about dual citizen for Turkish and EU. So for students who are thinking about their fees and you're not sure if you're a EU student or a UK student, so at present, EU students still pay the same as home students. And if you're not sure, when you apply, you can actually say you're not sure if you're home or overseas, and you can do what we call a fee status questionnaire. So when you apply, you say, I'm not sure my status as a student, and the admissions team will actually send you a questionnaire. You fill in the questionnaire, and we can assess your status. Are you a home student? Are you a home/EU student, or are you international? So at present, EU students are still paying UK fees, and that hasn't been a decision about 2020 onwards. So that's only for 2020 entry. Okay, good question. How do international students arrive to campus? Okay, this is a good question again. One thing I would mention is that we are running an international offer holder event next week. So we are holding an international offer holder event next week where we will give all students who are interested in extra detail coming to Bath 2020 more information. But I will answer that if you are an international student and you want to come to campus, there are different ways to get here. The easiest way is to fly to Heathrow Airport. Heathrow Airport. So that's obviously the biggest, busiest airport in Europe. And from there, we have a Heathrow Airport pickup service. So all students coming to Bath in October, they can be greeted by our pickup team. And that is current students at Bath, ambassadors, and members of staff at the university. And they will come to campus on select dates in October, or no, end of September, to collect you and bring you to Bath. So you have lots of questions you might want to ask students. You get that chance to do it on your way to the city of Bath. If you can't tie in your trip over to the UK for those dates, it's also possible to just come by coach. There's regular coaches from Heathrow Airport, and they take around 2 hours probably by coach, and it takes you straight to the city centre of Bath. But we do have that pickup service. You can fly to Gatwick, but it's just a bit of a longer journey. You then have to take 3 different trains to get to Bath. So it is also possible. But if you can help it, I'd say Heathrow is the best airport to aim for. The other option, of course, is Bristol Airport, but you'd have to fly indirect. Bristol Airport is about 50 minutes from Bath, and that's Bristol Airport. You'd probably have to fly indirect via Amsterdam, KLM. Okay, so questions coming in about how do you apply for postgraduate study? So if you want to apply for a master's, for example, which I'm assuming you mean by postgraduate, the deadline to apply is end of June generally. We are slightly more flexible this year, taking into consideration the circumstances. I would really recommend all students thinking of applying for a master's now to just apply as soon as you're ready. So we're actually closing or considering closing a few courses now because they're so popular. So as long as you've got that application in, you're going to be considered for the program. So even if you haven't got your English certificate or you haven't yet got your reference, for example, still just submit your application. And if we need anything else, we can just let you know. We'll send you email updates, etc. And that's the best way to approach it if you're still gathering your documents, etc. I always encourage students to just apply when you're ready, even if you haven't got everything you need yet. But the deadline to apply is June, and each year the window for international students is usually September all the way to June. So that kind of answers your question. Lovely. So yeah, and there's another question. This is a good question from Sinan. Thank you again. Once an offer comes, is there a limited time for accepting it? Or is there a universal deadline for accepting your offer? So for most courses, it's 6 weeks to accept your offer. Depending on the program, it will tell you in your offer letter. Some programs, for example, the School of Management programs, will be 4 weeks. So you have a 4-week window to accept or decline your offer. So do check your offer letter very carefully if you've been made an offer, and congratulations, of course. It is possible to extend your deadline. So obviously there's different circumstances for different students, and it might just not be possible for you to make that decision now. I'd really encourage you to contact the relevant admissions team, let them know about your situation. And again, we're trying to be as accommodating, as flexible as possible. So we will try to extend that deadline for accepting your offer where possible. But yeah, you do normally have 4 to 6 weeks, but do really carefully check that offer letter to see what applies to you. Okay, so what are the details of the Great Scholarship for Master's programs at Bath University? So the Great Scholarship has already, the deadline's already passed. So we did have a Great Scholarship for Turkish students this year, but that's already passed. But we are still offering those 2 other scholarships for students. So I would encourage you, if you haven't applied for the Great Scholarship, don't worry, you still have those 2 other scholarships you can apply for. And the deadline isn't until July. So the Global Leaders Awards, for example, and also the Dean's Award for Academic Excellence, both worth £5,000. So think about applying for those if you haven't already. Okay, lovely. And then Ahmed, thank you for your question, who's accepted your offer and completed your accommodation application, and asked, when will I have to pay for the contract? So when will the contract come through, and can I get a refund? So when you apply for accommodation, it's a really good question. I would just say that when you apply for accommodation, you are putting in your preferences. There's no obligation for you to accept your offer you're granted for the accommodation. And you're not really sent the contract until end of August, September anyway. So you're going to have actually quite a bit of time to make your decision now before you decide whether you want to come or not. and you won't be billed the fees for the accommodation until September time. So there's a lot, even though the deadline to apply for accommodations in June, you've got a lot of wiggle room there to actually make your decision. And of course, as I say, even you are coming to Bath in September, but you actually want to go private accommodation or choose different accommodation, you're not obliged to go with the accommodation that's been granted to you by the accommodation team, and you're well within your rights to say, actually, no, I decline the offer. I want to look for my own accommodation or whatever else the situation might involve. So yeah, so basically don't worry about that until September time. It's good that you've got the application in. It's very organized. Okay, so there's a few more questions coming. So there's a percentage about, thank you, Kerem, for your question about what are the percentage of international students in employment in 1 year after their graduation. That's a really difficult question to answer because there's so many different factors to take into account there. For example, the course they're studying, the level they've studied at, where they're from in the world, how they perform in interviews and so on. As a university, we have, as I said earlier, really strong connections to industry, got really strong connection to employers, really good career service, all there to support you. So we do find that we have some of the most employable students, hence why, for example, the 5th for graduate prospects, and that is with 5th for graduate prospects means we're the 5th best in the UK as a university at ensuring that our undergraduate students have found work within 6 months of graduating. Of course, that's not broken down to international home, but it gives you an overall idea of what we're like as an institution in terms of that career support. And of course, also there's the change in, for those who aren't familiar, there's a change in post-study work visas. So now students can come and they've got that post-study work visa where they can stay in the UK without a sponsor for 2 years working anywhere they like. And that's kind of a game changer that allows all students to stay in the UK, and it will in fact increase the employability of international students. So that's really a positive thing to take away from today. And also Brexit, one of the positives for international students, of course, will be that level playing field again. So all students will be looking, will have the same opportunities visa-wise in the future. That's something but to bear in mind as well. That's a really good question. And final question again from Kerem, when will the accommodation application deadline start and end? And just to again highlight that the accommodation application window has opened. The window to apply for accommodation has already opened, and for postgraduate students, so for master's students, the deadline to apply is the 17th of June. Write that down if you're wondering. If you're an undergraduate student wanting to come to do a bachelor's degree or foundation year program, it's the 1st of July, and that's in order to secure guaranteed accommodation. After that window, you can still apply for accommodation. It's just no longer guaranteed by the university. Hope that helps. Okay, looking at the time now. So we're going to have to wrap up, I'm afraid. We've had a few more questions come through, and I really appreciate those. I will now share my email address as well as some further details about what's coming up. So please do, if you do have more questions that weren't answered, do feel free to, as I say, email me or contact your counsellor as well. So, because it slows the webinar down slightly. So just to end on up. So if you're a postgraduate student, we have the virtual open day. So this is for all students who want to do a master's or PhD at Bath. On the 10th of June, you can join us to speak to current students at Bath. You can talk to academics, you can talk to the admissions team, the immigration team, and so on. And it's your chance to find out more information about the university. That's for students who are coming this year. Just make sure you register beforehand. So go online, register beforehand, ideally a day or two before the event, just to make sure that you can join us. But type that into our website, Virtual Open Day, and you should be able to find that easily. I'll also be sharing these slides at the end. That brings us to the end. That's just an upcoming event. Just to highlight again, thank you for coming. Thank you for and staying with us for the webinar. So there's my email address there with the apostrophe, which does confuse, but j.r.o'grady@bath.ac.uk. As I said, feel free to send me any email, any questions you have that haven't been answered today, and I will try my best to answer them or find the right person for you to answer your questions. and also BEB as well. So if you're not using one of our trust agents, BEB, I'd encourage you to do so. We've worked with them for many years, and they do a really good job at supporting students in coming to Bath and securing the place they want to study here. So do consider go through BEB if you can, and as you see there, the 3 different addresses that BEB operates: so Istanbul, Ankara, or Izmir. But of course, they offer other support too if you can't make it to the offices. Thank you again for joining. I hope you found today useful. As I said, we will hopefully send you the slides so that you have all the information that we've spoken about today. We do have the offer holder event next week, so we will send you more information about that shortly. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining, and do take care, and hopefully speak to you and see you soon. Thank you very much.